not talking about together how we come together to create that value. So when you think about the technology initiatives that any of us have gone through, or the enablement of technology, there's always those two paths, right? There's a capability of it, but then there's the performance of it. And so we think about value creation, we think of achievement and availability. What does achieve? What does that technology achieve? But if it's not available, that doesn't give me anything. If it's got great capability, but I run out of capacity quickly because I can only put 3 users on it and I need 50 users, again, I'm not meeting my value model, right? I have this functionality, but every third time I try to run it, it errors, it gives me these messages. I think a lot about Comcast or Verizon or those other issues. At Comcast, I got great speeds when my internet's up, but it goes down all the time. It goes down and I lose my voice over IP phone and all these other things. So you lose those capabilities. But service sciences, which is an aspect of a new economy that's coming up, and you'll probably hear a lot more about it. But the IT service management industry, the forums, the OGC, the Office of Government Commerce, who created IDLE, Microsoft Operations Framework, COBIT, the ISAC group, other industry standards organizations are creating. When I talk about service sciences, they're really relating these things to 2 aspects, utility and warranty. I want to talk about these 2, and I personally think that there's a 3rd one, and I'm pushing in the industry a 3rd aspect, but I'll leave that to the end because that's more of a Matt concept than an initial concept. So again, we talk about fit for purpose and fit for use. Utility is that fit for purpose. What does it give you? Right? Google's a good example. What does Google give you? What does Google give you?
Free apps.
Free apps. Yeah? What else does Google give you?
Access.
Access. Access to what?
Everything.
Access to everything.
Calling.
Right? Google, they say what now, Google's like the first technology that's become a verb. Right? What'd you do? I Googled it. Right? How'd you find that out? I Googled it. Okay? So we get access to information, we get access to applications, we get access to collaboration, right? You know, now communities with the Google Wave stuff is coming together. Great utility. It removes sort of a business constraint. Right? It's not just a search engine. What it did is, I could not find out who are the providers of X. I could not find out where the address of Y were in relationship to each other. Google allows me to search these things. It improves my business performance. It removes a constraint. I could not have done this before. 1983, I couldn't have done this. Today, I can. Right? 1983, I couldn't have gotten to a large market, millions of people, about a particular product offering I had that they could find in their pajamas in the middle of the night. Now they can. It removes that business constraint. That's great. But what happens? If we don't add the warranty to it, the consumer, the person who's footing the bill, are they going to see value in it? We know it's coming. You're loading, loading, loading. Bam, it doesn't show up. Terabytes of indexed data. Massive amount of bandwidth. Tons and tons of processing. Gigabytes and gigabytes of RAM. All put together in this extremely functional, complex system. So valuable, right? Not if I can't get there. Utility and warranty. How they come together. So we think about cell phones, right? We all have cell phones. Cell phones are coming. I got 2. Right? But that's the point we're at in our lives these days. Sometimes we've got 2 of them. What are some benefits and utility of the cell phone? They allow us to talk, right? So what's the warranty of that cell phone? Anybody know? You think about, I mean, beyond the Verizon commercial, can you hear me now? What are some other warranty issues of the cell phone? Let me show you one.
Well, at that price, I want to look all
challenge of technology, right? So you talked about security, you talked about these aspects of how we create that value. Cell phone technology gives us a great opportunity, right? It removes that business constraint. So what happens is we go through this process, we interview the customers, we create business value. All right, we've got business requirements met, utilities up, business values up, everything's great. Oh, it's not available. We got some security issues. Capacity issues. What happens to our business value? Right? Oh, and that opportunity? Okay? So that's what happens if we focus on all this time. So one of the things Terry talked about is simplifying. We want to focus, right? We want to focus and bring this stuff to market. But what happens? We create all these technical requirements into a 2-year strategy. We get started at the end of 2 years, what's happened? All those issues. Business opportunities moved on. Come with agile development. We're going to be quick, we're going to be nimble, we're going to be responsive, we're going to create these things on the fly, we're going to get all these people together, and we're going to bring all this stuff together, we're going to put this technology out the door quickly. What happens there? It becomes unstable. So we start giving up discipline, we start giving up best practices. The question then is, where is your value? Where is your value in reference to those that you operate with? Is it in building storage area networks? Is it building virtualization platforms? Or maybe it's looking at operating models. Maybe it's looking at the enterprise. Maybe it's talking to the marketing team and the sales team about how you can bring this information together. Maybe it's talking to the business owners and the business folks, talking about new capabilities to talk with consumers, get sentiment. I love that word. I definitely learned a lot today from your presentation, Terry. Thank you for that. That was one of the great ones, sentiment. So when you think about alignment factors, a lot of times in IT, especially IT ops folks, I used to get bonused on uptime, right? How do I calculate my uptime? This is really hard to see. What this says is, how many dollars per mile does it get? You ever asked that of your car person? No, you ask how many miles per gallon does it get? So you're going to pay $10,000 more for this hybrid. You have to drive it for 9 years and put all these miles in for the return on the investment to come back. So what math tells you that doesn't make sense. But what about uptime for service availability? So you used to build redundant systems. This server would go down, but the business was still up. The business was still running because I did a good job. I architected it right. Well, guess who took a hit in their pay? I did, because the server wasn't available. Talk about alignment. Right? Anybody here get bonus on uptime or ever had that in their pay or compensation? A few of us, yeah. Okay. How ridiculous is that? Does that have any alignment to the business? Let's talk about 99% availability. Is that good? Is that good? 99% availability? 99% availability over the course of a year. 3.65 days downtime, right? Simple math. 3.65 days downtime. You run an ATM for your business. You maintain the ATM operations. I'm going to choose those 3.5 days for you. Okay? Black Friday, December 24th, the day before your anniversary. Right? You can pick the other half day. Does that availability mean anything to you? It doesn't. It doesn't. You go to your bank and say, you never work when I need you to work for me. And they say, well, we're 99% available. How important is that? How valuable is that? Not really, right? So we got to understand our customers. We got to understand what the business operation needs. We have to understand, again, those 4 factors. We want to think about business value for fit for purpose, fit for use. Again, for purpose is the ability to remove those business constraints. And fit for sorry, I got that completely backwards. Fit for use is a business constraint. Purpose is for available security, and so forth. Late nights, putting this together. Sorry about that. So, in summary, Malcolm Forbes says, too many people overvalue what they are not and what they are. I challenge you to think about what you bring to the business. Your experience, your passion, your understanding, your insight, your discernment. When you get bogged down by trying to create networks or create storage services or create these other things that aren't of high value, unless you, of course, are that person, you may not be promoting the value you bring to the business. You may not be representing yourself.